If you feel emotionally numb, exhausted, but nothing seems obviously wrong, this video explains why. This is not laziness. This is not weakness. This is a nervous system shutdown response to long-term stress. Some people break down loudly. They cry. They panic. They ask for help. And then there are others. They don't fall apart in front of anyone. They don't create scenes. They don't even know how to explain what's wrong. They simply grow quiet. If you are watching this and your body feels heavy, not in a dramatic way, just heavy enough that standing up feels unnecessary, this chapter is for you. Because this state doesn't feel like sadness. It doesn't feel like fear either. It feels like disappearing while still being alive. You wake up, but nothing pulls you forward. You go through the day, but nothing really reaches you. You are not overwhelmed. You are underwhelmed. And that's why this state is so misunderstood. People assume something must be wrong on the surface, but often nothing obvious is wrong at all. Your life might look fine. You might still function. You might still answer messages, go to work, fulfill responsibilities, and yet inside something has quietly shut down. This is what silent shutdown looks like. It's not your mind giving up. It's not weakness. It's not laziness. It's what happens when effort has gone on longer than support. When your system realizes that pushing harder no longer changes the outcome. It doesn't scream. It conserves. It slows you down. It dulls sensation. It removes urgency, not to punish you, but to protect you. Most people never recognize this moment because nothing dramatic happens. There is no breakdown, no collapse, no clear reason to worry, so no one intervenes, and you learn to carry this quiet state alone. You start questioning yourself. Why can't I just do things? Why do I feel so flat? Why does everything feel like effort? This state often comes after you've already been strong, after you adapted, after you held things together, after you endured without rest, without reassurance, without relief. Silent shutdown is not the beginning of the problem. It is the body's response to a problem that lasted too long. If you feel slow, numb, or distant, you are not imagining it, and you are not alone in it. When nothing feels wrong, yet nothing feels alive. One of the strangest parts of quiet suffering is that nothing feels obviously wrong. There is no sharp pain to point to, no clear disaster to explain yourself with, no single moment you can say, that's when it broke. Life continues. You wake up, you move through your day, you complete what's expected of you, and yet something essential is missing. It's not sadness. Sadness has weight, tears, direction. This feels flatter than that. You don't feel deeply upset. You just don't feel deeply anything. Joy doesn't land. Motivation doesn't rise. Even rest doesn't restore. Everything feels distant, as if there's a thin glass wall between you and the world. And because there's no crisis, you begin to doubt yourself. Other people have it worse. I shouldn't complain. Nothing bad even happened, so you keep going. But numbness is not the absence of pain. It is what happens when pain has nowhere to go. When emotions stay inside too long without response, the system learns to turn the volume down. Not because the feelings disappeared, but because feeling them stopped changing anything. This is why people in this state say, I don't know what I feel. It's not confusion, it's protection. You don't resist life. You just don't feel pulled by it. Days pass without texture. Time moves, but you don't feel movement. Being functional is not the same as being alive. There is a difference between surviving your days and inhabiting them. And this state lives in that gap. If nothing feels wrong, but nothing feels alive either, that experience deserves to be understood. The cost of being strong without witness. There is a certain kind of pain that comes from being strong for too long, not the visible kind, the quiet kind, the kind where you keep going, even when no one asks how you're doing, the kind where you adapt and endure, without ever making it obvious that it costs you something. Many people who shut down quietly did so because they were reliable. They didn't complain. They handled things. They figured it out alone. When you don't express pain, people assume there is none. When you don't ask for help, people assume you don't need it. Slowly, your suffering becomes invisible. not just to others, but to you. You tell yourself it's not that bad. You remind yourself to be grateful. You minimize what you feel, and it keeps you functioning. But pain that is not witnessed doesn't dissolve. It accumulates. It settles into the body, into the nervous system, into the background of your life. Because no one responded to it, your system learned something important. This doesn't matter to anyone. So eventually it stops signaling loudly. You don't break down. You fade. This is the cost of being strong without witness. You didn't shut down because you were incapable. You shut down because you carried too much for too long without being seen. When someone is quietly exhausted, advice feels louder than it should. Not because it's cruel, not because it's wrong, but because it arrives too late. Just start small. Do something. Push yourself a little. This assumes motivation is missing. But quiet exhaustion is not a motivation problem. It is a capacity problem. Effort has already been overused. When advice sounds like do more, the nervous system feels danger because it remembers what happened, the last time it pushed past its limits. This is why pressure makes shutdown worse. Self-criticism does not create motivation. It creates threat, and a system that feels unsafe does not move forward. Advice works when there is safety, when there is margin, when there is space. Quiet suffering removes that space. Tasks feel heavier, decisions feel urgent, rest feels unproductive. So the body pulls the brakes, not to sabotage you, but to prevent further harm. Your system is not refusing to cooperate. It is saying, I cannot keep doing things this way. Before change, there must be recognition. Before movement, there must be safety. By the time someone reaches shutdown, they believe something is wrong with them. They think they are behind, that they are wasting time, that they are failing at life. But shutdown is not a moral failure. It is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is an intelligent response to prolonged strain. When stress becomes constant, the system adapts. It lowers energy. It dulls urgency. It reduces engagement. Not to destroy you, but to protect you. Shutdown is the least damaging option when nothing else has worked. The problem is not that you stopped. The problem is that you had to stop without anyone acknowledging why. In a world that only rewards output, rest looks like failure. But internally, something else is happening. Your body is asking for different conditions, not more discipline, not more pressure. Permission. Permission to stop blaming yourself. Permission to let this state be information, not a verdict. If all you did today was stay here, that counts. If you didn't move forward, but you didn't disappear, that matters. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are responding to more than most people ever saw. And that response makes sense. Nothing needs to be fixed right now. You don't need to push yourself. If this video described you, you don't have to explain anything. You can just leave a dot in the comments. You are not alone in this.